What's good, y'all? My name is Dylan Green, and this is Real Notes, a space dedicated to blurring the cultural and artistic lines between rap and film. I'm here to chop it up with everyone from rappers and producers to journalists and video directors about their relationship to movies and how, if at all, film inspires their craft. My guest this week is Oakland rapper and co-founder of the label Lucid Haus, Nappy Nina. We spoke about touring Australia for the first time, the perfect grilled cheese, the 2022 Oscar nominees, Flubber, Jumanji, medicine for Melancholy, how the Fugees The Score changed her life, how her name translates to international audiences, how COVID impacted her creativity, and the creative process behind her latest album, Mourning Due. Come fuck with us. What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome back to Real Notes. Cards on the table. We already recorded this interview once, and my dumbass deleted it by mistake. I don't know how it happened, but it's gone. I even tried to use some hard drive recovery software to yank it back from the great beyond. It's gone. It's the raw files were the only two things that I couldn't get back. I found shit that I deleted like 8 years ago that shouldn't exist anymore, but not the thing that we recorded 3 weeks ago. So we're here. This is
we're back.
this is take two. This is take two with Oakland's finest rapper, co-label founder, label head, grilled cheese enthusiast, fucking
Yep.
Nappy Nina's back. Mourning Due is out now and it's fantastic. Thank you, Nina. Thank you so much for coming back a second time, 16 hours in the future from Australia. I really appreciate it. It really, I was telling you before, but it really means the world, so thank you.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here again. And yeah, I'm 16 hours in the future, as you said, which feels fucking nuts, but I'm here.
Is this your first time in Australia?
Yeah, it is. Randomly, I have an uncle who lives here, but it's my first time here. He's been trying to get me here for mad long, but it's my first time. It's cool. Melbourne is showing mad love, so I appreciate it.
Good shit, man. Yeah, no, I've never been, but I've had Vegemite and I hated it, but I
haven't had it yet.
Oof, it's rough, bro. I had it on toast once. It was awful, but I love Australia and I want to come visit one day. So
yeah, pull up the furthest flight you'll ever get on, but it's worth it.
How long was the flight?
Well, I had to fly from New York to LA, which 6-7 hours depending on the day, and then from LA to Sydney, which was 15 hours.
So it
was like a 22-hour day. I basically just lost a whole day on the plane. Like I left on Sunday and I got here on Tuesday. So
wow, that's that's like I don't even have words for that, honestly. That's a lot. But if you're enjoying it, fuck it. That's all that matters.
Yeah, it's true.
Hell yeah. So yeah, since I was crawling around and I saw that you also fuck with the nice grilled cheese, what's your favorite grilled cheese? Because I feel like that's a thing that everyone has. Like if your perfect grilled cheese.
Yeah, so I would say you gotta get a good combo of cheese. You know what I'm saying? I love a white cheese and a yellow cheddar, so maybe like a Swiss cheddar, maybe even provolone if the day is right, and something like good sourdough bread. Whole Foods is always a go-to for me, and mayo instead of butter, and a little garlic salt. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh.
Just garlic powder, just keeps it popping, and definitely some hot sauce on that thing. You know what I'm saying? After.
Hell
That's
yeah!
there, perfect for me.
Good shit. I just made one a day ago, or I made one yesterday. That was oh, I'm trying to remember. I think I kept it simple this time. I made one with just like some mozzarella and just some like plain chicken breast with butter and mayo. But I have like this peri peri sauce from Trader Joe's. So I just mixed
Yo,
up
I
the
have
peri
that
peri
too.
sauce with it's because like I went to Nando's for the first time last year and I tried the peri
Mm,
chicken and it wasn't spicy. It was delicious, had no spice,
yeah,
but the
yeah.
peri sauce I got has so it's just like that mixed with mayo is like that might be the go-to on every sandwich moving forward, honestly. It's kind of crazy.
I gotta try that
Yeah, no, it's
because
worth
I
it.
fuck with Trader Joe's heavy. So I love everything at Trader Joe's pretty much. So I gotta try that.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, no, my sister works there, so we our
Oh,
house is
cool.
our crib is full of Trader Joe's food. So
That's cool.
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, let me ask you well, I guess this is the second question, but this would normally be the first question I ask everybody who comes on here. What was the last movie or TV show you watched that you had a strong opinion about?
The last movie or TV show I watched that I had a strong opinion about. I'm trying to think, have I watched anything lately, extra lately? Well, movie wise, I've been watching all the Academy Award nominated joints. Which is yeah, the Oscars are happening like in a couple weeks. And I don't know why I've been obsessed with it this time around because I've never actually tuned in to it for real, but this time I was like, let me just see what's good. So I watched probably the last movie I watched I think was that Spielberg joint, The
The
Fablemans.
Fablemans? How
Yeah,
was
yeah,
it?
yeah. It was good. Like stylistically, I thought it was really dope. I thought it was cool to like go through his life as a filmmaker and see what intrigued him and the little family drama that was involved. But I thought the movie was way too long, and I thought that like there were so many scenes that were unnecessary. And I thought, I'm not like a huge Spielberg stan or anything, but I thought that the movie like served its purpose, but definitely I felt like I don't know, a lot of these movies that I've been watching that are nominated are just way too long, honestly. They all are trying to hit that like 2 hour 30 mark where I'm just like, why, guys? Like why? There is a lot of love and respect for brevity, and I think nobody cares about that, like when they're making these feature films. So
Right.
that was the last thing I think I watched.
And it's funny you say that because the last time we talked, you mentioned that you love a good slow burn, but there's also a
Yeah.
difference between a slow burn and a slow burn that takes 2.5 hours, and I
Yeah,
haven't
like a slow burn for no reason.
right, yeah. I
Yeah.
haven't checked The Fablemans is one of the ones I haven't seen, but
Mm.
I've seen Everything Everywhere. I'm actually got I gotta go take a look at the Best Picture nominees again. I've seen Everything Everywhere, Avatar, which was over 3 hours long. Tar was
Wow.
about Tar was about 2.5 hours. Top Gun,
Hmm.
I think, was actually just under 2 hours, which
I didn't see
good.
Top Gun. Yeah.
It's cool. It was
Yeah.
like I had a good time, but I have no nostalgia for Top Gun. Like I never
Yeah.
saw the first one, so it's like like I was in the theater with people like crying watching Top Gun. They're like, "Oh, Maverick's
What?
back." I'm like, I don't have that relationship with Top Gun. It was a good movie though. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it, but
Yeah.
and I think that's it. I've seen Top Gun. I've seen Everything Everywhere and Avatar. Haven't
Tar.
seen
You saw Tar also, right?
right. I saw Tar. Yeah, yeah, right. I
Yeah.
saw Tar,
Yeah.
which I like a little less than I did the first time I saw it, but still
Yeah.
think Kate Blanchett, she's great. She's great
Yeah,
in
she
it,
killed
but
it. She killed it.
yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The rest of the movie, like I want to watch it again. That's all I'm gonna say
Yeah.
for now.
Yeah.
Just to
I'm thinking
really,
about going to the movies today and actually watching The Triangle of Sadness. Um,
oh,
yeah. So
I've heard great things. I've heard really
yeah.
great things.
There's like a movie theater around the corner from my crib here. So I'm just like, yo, I'm gonna go check that out maybe.
That's tight. I love being nice and close to a movie theater. Have you been?
Mm,
Well, have you been yet or not to the movies over there? Or would this be the first time?
This will be the first time. I tried to go the other day, but it just didn't work out. It looks like it's a really small theater too, which I appreciate.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Always gotta support the small spots. And you mentioned, and before we move on, you mentioned that you saw I think you said Banshees of Inisherin was the last one you saw
Yeah,
a couple weeks ago.
I
And
really love that one.
still haven't seen it, but I might watch it tonight because I've been waiting to watch it with my girl, and she's they're not they've been dragging their feet, so I think I might need to just do it myself tonight. Sorry, Des.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was like that one. I'm kind of rooting for that one. I mean, I'm really rooting for Everything Everywhere just because I'm biased and my homies did the score. But
Shout
I'm
out, that's crazy.
also, yeah, shout out to Sunlux. But I really think Banshees deserves to win something. It was a really good movie.
Yeah, I'm excited because I like Martin McDonough a lot. I like Colin Farrell, and what's Brendan Gleeson. I couldn't remember. I was telling somebody about the movie like 2 days ago, and I was like Colin Farrell and the other guy. I couldn't remember bro's name, but it's Brendan
Yeah,
Gleeson. That's his
yeah.
name. Shout out to Brendan Gleeson. I
Shout
like all
out.
three of them. So you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, no, for you, let's run it back to the beginning real quick. What's the first movie experience you can remember having? It could be at the theater, it could be at your cousin's house. What the first thing that comes to mind for you?
Yeah, it's funny because getting asked these questions by you a second time, I kind of am still going back to the same things. I mentioned the first movie experience. I mean, I think it's the first movie I ever watched and recalled liking a lot was Lion King, but I think I'm too young. I was too young to like really, understand that movie at all. But I saw
Right.
Flubber in the drive-thru, which with my cousins, which was like a really fun experience. And shout out to Robin Williams, one of the best to ever do it. Um, and then another experience that I remember a lot is seeing Boys in the Hood, not only because of the impact of that movie, but because I was babysitting a kid and I let them watch it and I was fired from my job the next day. So but I but yo, it wasn't like I was just letting like any 5-year-old kid watch it. Like the kid was like 13. So I
Mhm.
felt, and I was only 16. So it's like how much responsibility did I really have?
Yeah, parents were extra sheltering that kid, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, they really were.
um, but yeah, nah, like Flubber is one that I've still been like Flubber's a movie I saw a bunch as a kid. I don't remember anything about it except for there's two things. The first one was like Robin Williams putting Flubber on his sneakers so he could play basketball and kind
Yeah,
of just like owning everybody. And then there's like a shot at the end with like you remember at the end you ever see Grease before?
yeah.
You remember how Grease ends with the car flying off into
Hmm.
the sky? They do the same thing in Flubber, and then like there's like a shot of like the Flubber man, like little Flubber, cute little dude with the legs, and he has like sunglasses on. And he's like dancing on like the butt of the car, and like that's like the like it's such a specific image, and I don't know why that one it like pops into my head sometimes. Like I
Yeah,
couldn't tell you anything else about that movie other than that Robin
yeah.
Williams is great in it, but
Yeah.
like it just kind of imprinted itself on my brain, you know?
Yeah, Robin Williams is just imprinted in my brain so much. Like even Jumanji, like I feel like I think about Jumanji often. Like I was so scared of that movie when it came out. That shit
Me
was
too.
scary, terrifying. Like you know.
Yeah, fucking Lion in the House. Nah, like that shit. Like my sister still makes fun of me to this day for being scared of the lion in Jumanji. Like that shit
Yeah,
fucked me
that
up.
movie was so scary. Like it was so real at the time. I mean, I don't know if how old you are, but I think we're probably around the same age. And I think we're probably like 7 or 8 when that came out. And it was just like the word, or I don't even know, but it was just really intense. Like having kids
Yeah.
turn into monkeys and then just, like all type of craziness.
Yeah, nah, for real. It was a lot. And then not to get too far off track, but I like the two new Jumanjis, the ones about like the retro game. Those were both really cute movies. I wasn't expecting to really care about them at all, but they did it. It was cool. I liked them.
Yeah.
And what else? Oh, you mentioned the drive-through, which is we don't have very many drive-throughs out here. I've only been to two in my life, and I loved the experience. I just wish I got to do it like more. So, like, did you go to the
Mm,
drive-through often, or like was that just like a thing that was that like a one and done type shit?
no, so the drive-through I went to was in this suburb where my mom now lives, but before it was a suburb, it was just like farm town, and then they had a drive-through. So I went there kind of often with my cousins, and then as I got older and I was going to college in San Jose, there was a drive-through in San Jose, and it was just like the spot where we would just hang and like smoke and chill. So I do have like quite a few experiences at the drive-through, but yeah, since moving to New York, I haven't been, even though I have heard that there's one in Queens or like somewhere obscure, but I haven't been there. So I have, that is a good movie experience that I have like fairly often.
There's one in Newark too that was really popping like at the peak of the pandemic. I don't really know if they have it open as much as they used to, but I had really wanted
Mm.
to go because I think they were showing Boys in the Hood one night, and like I wasn't
Mm,
home, and like I've never seen it on a screen. Like I've seen it on TV, of course, like everyone's seen Boys in the Hood, but like
yeah,
that's one of those movies I would love to watch on like a big ass screen with like 60
it's
people,
true.
you know?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, I would like that.
damn. And like as you get older and start having a few more experiences, like was there a movie you saw that kind of stopped you in your tracks and affected you like more than any other, like not even, it doesn't even have to be in like an artful sense, but just something that like really connected with you, like, oh, this is a movie and not just like sitting in front of a TV for or a screen for an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah, I think Medicine for Melancholy, which is by Barry Jenkins, way before Moonlight, is a movie that I refer to often. And not even, I mean, stylistically, it's beautiful. It's just like a slowish indie film, but also it's like one of the first films that I saw talk about gentrification in the Bay. And like it didn't even name it like straight out, but there were just so many themes of like Black folks being displaced, and just me being from the Bay Area and seeing like similar scenery to like, where I grew up. I think that movie really impacted me, and Wyatt Cenac is in it and he does a great job. And I think, yeah, that movie just like left something in me. Like I think about it really a lot. And it's like it's similar themes to The Last Black Man in San Francisco, which also super beautiful movie. Um
Incredible, yeah.
yeah, one of the best opening scenes of any movie I've ever seen. But it it's like it's about a romantic relationship. So um it just really pulls you in that way. But I think that movie probably is the one that just I think about a lot.
Yeah, it's been in my watch list for the last couple of weeks. And I think I might run it up later this week because like I saw a trailer for it, a Medicine for Melancholy that is, and it
Yeah.
looks yeah, like it looks gorgeous. And
Hmm.
I think like especially with the connect or like not a connection, but like you connecting it to the Last Black Man in San Francisco, which I saw way later than I should have, because like
Hmm.
I'd I wanted, when you mentioned that, I wanted to say that that was the first time I'd seen Jonathan Majors in a movie, but it wasn't, because
Mm,
I saw The Five Bloods before I saw that, and people were like, "You
mm.
haven't seen Last Black Man in San Francisco?" I just couldn't find it, and I found it, watched it. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, and he's blown
Really,
up since then.
yeah, man. Nah, he's what's it called? He's Kang the Conqueror and Ant-Man. He's about to be in the new Creed. Like
Yeah.
he's out here posing like One Piece characters on magazine covers and getting shit for it.
Yeah.
I'm just happy for him, man. He's 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 something else. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, no, I like I've had Medicine for Melancholy like on the brain for the last week. So I think either that or Banshees is gonna have to be one of the two things I run up tonight. But we'll see. I'm gonna pick
Yeah.
one of them.
Cool.
I'm gonna pick one of them. So like let's jump over to music for you. So like when did like music's, I feel like music's been a pretty big part of your life for a long time, but like when
Mm-hmm.
did you first really fall in love with music on your own and like recognize it as something, you know, like as music, you know, like with a capital M type shit?
Yeah, I think that's a good question because yeah, I have been surrounded by music my whole life. My dad has radio shows, and I was always in the radio station for free childcare, listening to the jams. But
Hmm.
like I was super irritated by the music back then, and I never really paid attention to it until I think I got my hands on some like real hip hop, and there's probably something before this, but the first thing that really vividly comes to mind is the Fugees Score, and I stole that CD from my mom, who like to my knowledge didn't even like hip hop back then, but I think that's when music, like hearing Lauryn Hill and Wyclef and Pras, even though his raps are lightweight terrible. I
Yeah.
feel like that's when it all kind of clicked for me, and I was just like, oh yeah, I really love this, and then I just went down like a hole of like, you know, the typical guys like um the Roots and Black Star and like all that stuff. That was Queen Latifah and all that kind of genre. Like I was really, really deep in it and had to just listen to everything I could get my hands on.
Right. Man, I'm happy you mentioned Queen Latifah too, because like we you know, like people talk about her all the time as someone who was like running with the native tongues and all that, but like we never like
Hmm.
talk about specific albums from her. And like she was putting out really fucking good music that like nobody talks
Yeah.
about really, you know?
Yeah, I forgot the name of that record. I think it was like Black Rain or something like that. That record like got a lot of spin in my house, or on my little Walkman. So shout out to
Yeah,
Queen Latifah always.
yeah, for real. That and I think, oh man, I'm a look it up and not embarrass myself, but I think her first album is called All Hail the Queen. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All Hail the
Mm,
Queen is the one that's the one that really got me when I was really listening. When I was really tapped in back in the day. She's also from Jersey. She's from West
yeah,
Orange, like right
yeah.
near where I grew up. So yeah, she's
Jersey just out here, just like just man, producing like so many gems.
yeah, yeah. No, I feel like I've been talking about this on here a lot, but like between her and like Naughty by Nature's from Jersey and Just Blaze is from Jersey and like
Lauren
SZA's from
Hill's from
Jersey, like
Jersey.
Lauren
Yeah,
Hill, yep.
yeah. Jay
Real
Words.
right. Jay Words is from Jersey. Yeah, no, yeah, no, she's from right near me.
Yeah,
Shout out to Jay Words.
yeah.
I you just unlocked a memory. My mom used to live in South Orange for I think maybe a couple of years, and she lived up the street from Lauryn Hill's house where she used
Mm,
to live in like I think in like the early 2000s. I forget exactly when it was, but yeah, nah, she
yeah.
we never saw her or met her, but like or no, we saw her walking around once, and I was like, that's Lauryn Hill. Like it was kind of crazy.
That's yeah, two other of my favorite artists are from Jersey, Maroof, and who like I've loved Maroof and the way he raps forever, and also Nathan Bahar. So I just had to say that because I don't want to forget leave out no Jersey folks.
Nah, of course not. Nah. You can never. Nah.
Yeah.
You gotta represent always. people, people will yell at you. Nah,
For
no.
real.
Nobody's gonna yell at you. But but you know, for you, like as you're kind of growing up with all this stuff, growing up with all this music and film, was there ever a period of time for you where you like consciously linked film and music together as two things that complement each other?
Yeah, I feel like that took a while for me, honestly, to care about the music in film. And I don't even know what what film did that for me. But I think now music is one of the main things that I pay attention to when I watch any film. I think, it does so much for the pacing and just the storyline of a film. And I think, yeah, without good music, like your film could be great, but it could actually turn out pretty bad, if you don't have the right sounds behind it. So I definitely know its importance now, but I'm not sure if I can name like a time when I realized the importance.
Right. But you know, like but like that's a good point because it just comes down to like there's a couple movies I could think of that don't have scores that kind of work without it, but like if you watch a movie and the music's bad or like it doesn't fit the scene, because like that's really what, like that's not the only reason it's there, but like music is basically like, you know, like it's cueing you in on how you're supposed to feel, you know,
Yeah.
like 98% of the time, you know, like, it's like the other 2% where it's just there to fuck you up, but like most of the time it's like this is how you're supposed to feel right now, and if those two
Yeah.
things don't match up, like or if it's just bad period, you know, like it's just it's just not great.
Mm-hmm. That's
Like
true.
there's I just uh I just watched CB4 for the first time in like a decade, because I was surfing Tubi and I saw it, and
Yeah.
I want to say there were like a couple scenes where like the music was kind of like you, like not just the there was just like a couple scenes where like some of the music that wasn't directly coming from the artist was like, this doesn't really fit here. This feels like a little
Mm,
too silly. It's just a little too
mm.
like like I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but
Yeah, I haven't seen that
maybe
movie in so long.
yeah, no, I just stumbled on it and I was like, you know what? It's been because that movie turns 30 this year. It came out in 93. So I was like,
Wow.
I guess it's time, you know, just to
Yeah.
see. And it's not perfect, but you know, it's good, you know, for what it is. It's cool. For
Yeah.
for early 90s comedy. It's
Yeah.
you know, it's cool. And there was something else you said that I wanted to touch on. I can't remember. We'll come back to it later. But you know, so like as you're seeing, like we're back to you kind of just growing up with music and with movies. And when did you know that rap was going to become more than just a hobby for you? Like more than just listening to like all the shit that you were finding on online and like all the older stuff.
I think that there was many moments of that, but I was in a rap group in high school called the Newlyweds, with my homeboy, DJ N-Word, shout out. Um, and we just, I mean, that was the first time that I really like did like studio sessions, or like, which was really just like us in the back of one of my teacher's classrooms who like didn't care that we were there, you know, just like recording stuff. So I think like when I realized that like we could actually make music ourselves and actually learn how to record, that was a super pivotal moment for me. And then like I spent a lot of years then after that, just recording little stuff that we would never really put out, but we just had for ourselves and we're listening to, you know. And then one of my good friends, Just Moni, who's on my record, Mourning Due, she was like, yo, like, when are you gonna take rap seriously? And I was super offended, super offended actually. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I am taking it seriously. I think that her actual words were like, when are you gonna do this for real? And I was just like, this is for real. Like, what do you mean? And she was like, no, like, you could actually do this. And I think that was the first time anybody affirmed that I could actually do it. And I think I took, I was so offended because I think it was just like a scary thing for me to hear. And like that I could take this art seriously. And that I was like decent enough to take it seriously. Not that you have to be good, like anybody can do it, but I think probably right after high school was like when I was like, okay, like I'm gonna do this. I'm actually gonna like rap and like put out music. And um I kind of remember like my first upload to SoundCloud was, yeah, a Newlyweds tape, which like if it's there still, I don't know. I like don't hold me accountable for some of the tracks we made. Because that shit was low key trash, but there's some gems in there. But I think that like right after high school is probably when I started taking it seriously.
So when was you know, like you're talking about like the newlyweds and just like putting and like and like having one of those tapes be the first thing that you uploaded to SoundCloud. When was
Mhm.
do you remember the first time you recorded something, like after you made that decision, like the first time you recorded something and you were like, oh shit, like I'm actually doing this. Like, this is like, I'm out of here. You can't tell me shit. Like,
I would say probably 2015 or 2013, something like that, when I put out my tape Nap Time, which is like still on streaming and stuff. I had already moved to New York. I think the move to New York kind of legitimized it to me too. Um, because I was like, I'm out here for what reason? Like, I have to make something of myself while I'm here, or like something of my time, like I can't just be here doing the same nothing that I was doing in the Bay. So I think like once I made Nap Time and I was able to like get some producers, like I got Sauce the Boss on there before we were even friends, like she was somebody who I just looked up to and was like, yo. And she gave me a
and she's
beat and I was like,
incredible.
yeah, she's incredible. But she just like luckily gave me a beat, which like opened up that record for me. It's the first track on Nap Time. And I remember sitting down and like really writing to that song and being like, okay, like you got this. Like, here we go. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like the origin story of me being like, yeah, like let's like Nappy Nina in existence. Like, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like, even before then, I don't even think I was calling myself Nappy Nina. So um
Yeah, like I know what the name Nappy Nina is supposed to, like obviously it's a play on you like naps, your hair is nappy. Like,
mhm.
but when did you first decide to call yourself Nappy Nina? Like that's it just, rolls off.
Yeah, I really don't. Man, I wish I like could remember exactly my thoughts and like why I chose that name, but like I really can't. Like I I was going as Nina Serafina for a while. And then, I my government name is Simone, which like I don't know who put that on Wikipedia, but like I'm low key mad at you because that keeps showing up everywhere. And I'm like, bruh, please. Like y'all can know it, but like don't put it in writing. You know what I'm saying? So my parents obviously I'm named after Nina Simone to an extent, and I just took that, and then yeah, nappy, just bringing power back to the word nappy, and like which I've been laughing about because I'm in Australia where nappy means diaper. And it also
Right.
means, yeah, which also like all over Europe and UK, it also means diaper. So like it's a low key like downfall to my name because people like the white Europeans are mad confused all the time. They're like, yo, why would you name yourself that? And I'm like, there's like so much context you don't understand. But I'm still sticking with it. I'm not gonna change my name, but I
Yeah,
just
no,
think that's
fuck them.
hilarious. Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
so while you've been in Australia, how many people have asked you why is your name Nappy? Like,
Not that many people have asked me here, but like when I've been in Europe, like people will ask me online, or they'll just be like, huh. Like I'll see them comment on something that I'm like mentioning, and they'll be like, Nappy Nina, like what the hell? Like she named herself out
yeah,
of the diaper. Yeah.
yeah, that reminds me because sometimes people get it Mavi because I think his name means like dung in Swahili or something like
Mm,
that,
mm.
and and it's just like, okay,
Yeah,
like
but that's different too because that's his given name, like the name he was born with. Like that's wild. Yeah.
right, yeah, nah, it's we love you, Omavi. Let's just put
Yeah,
it
I
that way.
love you, Mavi.
Yeah, nah, truly. So you mentioned that you had moved from the Bay to New York and you were going to school. Remind me one more time where you were going to school
I went to the new
when you came
school.
here. You went to the new
Yeah,
school.
yeah.
I second guessed
Shout
myself.
out, kind of, but like not shout out at the same time because they still owe me my degree because I owe them $2,000. But my actual paper, I did graduate. But yeah, I also found out that Messiah went to the new school and like mad other people who like we didn't cross paths at the time, but um that school definitely has a little bit of history.
Oh, no shit. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I didn't yet. There are quite a few people I know who went to the new school too, but
Mhm.
I never went. But I just know that it's like there's like a lot of people in our community who all yeah, like you could draw lines between them and the new school real
Yeah.
easy.
Mm-hmm.
And like you get here, you're going to school, you're like, you're feeling yourself, and it's like, okay, I'm actually gonna make a go of this. And you like finding community here is something I'm sure might have like maybe not been like the huge, like the biggest challenge, but like what was it like kind of moving here from the Bay and just kind of trying to establish yourself, not even just as an artist, but just like as a person, like in New York?
Yeah, well, I have to say that I'm super blessed in the community aspect because one of the first people I was introduced to out here was Nelson Bandela.
Shout out to
Um,
Bandela, bro.
Shout out to Bandela. My he, he really changed my life, and I don't say that lightly. He's introduced me to so many musicians in this circle and just encouraged me to like be myself and also just make music. Like he was super, super encouraging. And I think that's just the spirit that he carries. And he feels like my brother. Our birthdays are one day apart.
Oh,
We yeah, so like Nelson, we started throwing a show back in the day, maybe like 2013, 2014, called Catch the Wave, where we had like so many artists who are now like doing their thing and killing it, where that was like their first stages, you know. So um I met a lot of folks in that way, and I feel super blessed to just even have experienced that. And I feel like Brooklyn now, the Brooklyn scene is just like, it's home for me, and I feel super comfortable in it. And I'm just like, man, just seeing 10 years later, just seeing folks like do their things, just like makes me smile so hard. So it was challenging, but also Nelson made it so much easier, you know.
yeah, like it's really beautiful to see people like him and like you and people who've really been plugging away at this for like 8, 9, 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all have hit a point now where like there's a lot more of y'all now, but or no, but nothing. There's a lot more of y'all now, and like more people are tapped in. You're in, like, not to mention it again, but you're in Australia, like off of music, like
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that's not nothing. And
Yeah.
like over the period I spent, like digging into your shit now and then, for both of these, like I I kind of got stuck on the connect between Dumbed Out and Morning Dew, and just like
Mm-hmm.
about how both these albums are like are like about confronting these really harsh emotions on different spectrums, like kind of
Yeah.
like doubt, like doubt's kind of approaching it from like the perspective of the artist, just being like, excuse me, just being like, am I good enough? Like, is this worth it? Like, am I really, like, is this it? And then like Morning Dew is approaching it from like the literal sense of like you're mourning several different things, whether it's like the loss of loved ones, or, just like mourning, mourning your state of being and like your state of mind. And like finding hope and solace in that, and just taking time to be with your people while they're still
Yeah.
here. Like I like that really stuck out to me, kind of running both of these albums back to back. I guess I was just curious, like, was it like, considering how intense some of these songs can be, like, was it exhausting to you making these projects back to back? Because like following Dumbed Out with Morning Dew is like it really just feels like a 1-2 punch, like listening to these
Mm.
albums back to back. So like, how was that making those for you?
I think Morning Dew was like more challenging to make for me. It's I started this project in 2019 and it's just now coming out. So that took a while, and I think it took a while because like what I was writing about, and also just like the state that I was in. Like I distracted myself by making two other EPs within the time of making Morning Dew. I made 30 Bag and Double Down like while I was making Morning Dew, and that was just because I needed a distraction. Like some of the stuff was super heavy, and like I think what I'm starting to realize, and what folks sometimes don't realize, is like I'm not really making like a lot of the stuff, and it sounds cliche, but like a lot of stuff I am just making for me to like process what the hell I've been going through. Like it's not, this is my music is like my main way to process stuff. And um whether or not I put songs out, like I still have to make the thing to like kind of understand from a different perspective, like what I am actually going through and like what things are eating at me and like what things I need to work on and all of those things. Like it is like I just hate to say it, but like it is a therapy, it is therapeutic, you know. And so um I don't know if I would say, yeah, it was challenging. I wouldn't say that I was like crying, like writing these bars or anything, but I definitely was.
Yeah.
You know, like it comes from a place. A lot of these songs also just come from a place of like feeling like when I'm first making them, like it's not me. Like, you know, I feel like a vessel for real. And then I'm able to like go through and listen to like what I made, and then I'm like, oh snap! Like I'm listening to some of these things at the same time that like a lot of other people are listening to some of these things, and being like, oh yeah, like realizing where I was at when I made the track. So like, I think not everything is super apparent when I make it at first, like, and I reference like Steph Curry a lot when I think about this concept because like he I watched the interview that he did about the first like 3-point shot that he made where he turned around to the other side of the court before the shot went in, and he was
Iconic.
just like, yeah, iconic. First of all, iconic. Like I know that I'm biased because I'm from Oakland and the Warriors are my team, but Steph Curry, iconic. But he mentions how like that wasn't even him. Like he had to watch the tape back and be like, oh, that's what I did. Like he was just so outside of himself when that happened that he was just feeling like, yeah, he's a vessel too. And I feel that way too. Like not even on no religious shit. Like I just feel that I'm just like a vessel that for like the thoughts that and emotions that come through me or whatever.
Yeah, you know, like all that shit comes from you, but it also comes from just like, you know, like family and history and all that
Mm-hmm.
and you know, like and all that good stuff. And I hadn't really thought about the fact that like of course you put out two projects between Dumbed Down or excuse me, Dumbed Out and Mourning Due.
Yeah.
One of them being Double Down with J Words. And like
Mm-hmm.
you're like I'm really fascinated by, you know, like yeah, you know, you spent basically 4 years working on Morning Dew, and you made these two projects like in the interim. So like talk to me a little bit more about that process of like, I guess we could kind of start it like, where did the initial idea of Morning Dew come from? Like when was it like, okay, it's album time?
Yeah, I think 2019, I was just like, yo, like, you know, a lot of these projects come from like wanting to keep up with like people's attention spans and just like, you know, we live
Yeah.
in ADD culture. So like, I'm like, yo, like people can't forget about me. I think a lot of this is just like coming from needing to prove myself and being like, yo, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. I can rap better than a lot of people that you know. I'm really good at this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I deserve these things. And like, I think that Morning Dew was like, let me just take my time and make something as good as Dumbed Out. It's funny because I think Dumbed Out is the album of mine that I've listened to the least. So sometimes it's hard for me to like reference specific things on that record because I'm like, what did I do? Like what was I doing on that record again? But I think I wanted to make a follow-up record to Dumbed Out that showed that I executive produced with Dane that was just like more full than the EPs that I was making that like had a theme, you know, like I didn't want it to just be rap for rap's sake. So I think initially before the pandemic, it just came from a place of like wanting to make like a larger body of work that made made sense, you know.
Right. And you know, maybe I mean like I don't want to just randomly guess when it happened, but like at some point between Dumbed Out and Morning Dew, you start making these other two projects. Like when did you know, like when did that start? Like was there like did it just kind of come from you needing a break from Morning Dew for a bit, or was it just like, let me just do this because it's fun? Because
Yeah.
you know you look at because I'm sorry to cut you off, because you know like
Yeah.
you look at like Double Down and Morning Dew, and they're just like you know, like in terms of like theme and in terms of like, I guess, intent, it's like almost a night and day difference, you know, like in terms of those
Mm-hmm.
things. So yeah.
Yeah, I think 30 Bag came because, well, that 30 Bag I started working on like the first few days of the pandemic, just like off of boredom and like being in my
Gotcha.
crib, and Unjust sending me a beat pack and me wanting to, like, that same thing that I'm talking about, like proving myself. I really want to prove that I could like rap over these boom bap, super boom bap, like more hip hop, quote unquote, beats. And that's where that project came from. And I love that project, is near and dear to me. But Double Down with Jay Words was because I wanted to challenge myself. Like Jay Words, that all started off Twitter. Like Jay Words, like posting a beat on Twitter. Like we were homies, but not friends like how we are now, you know. And she just posted something on Twitter, and I was like, yo, I have to have this. And I just like rapped over it immediately and reposted it on Twitter. And she was like, yo, like, let's make a tape. And that's kind of just how it started. And I was like, this is a perfect distraction, but it's also like something I'm really invested in, and I want to challenge myself to rap over these like more electronic, more not things that I'm used to rapping over beats, you know.
Right. Yeah. And, you know, like it's not like you hadn't done stuff like that before already, but it was
Mm-hmm.
really like you really dove into the deep end on it. And you know, and you know, like Jay Words is like she's, you know, like she does a lot, but that's kind of the sound that people like recognize her for, especially now. Like she's really like
Yeah.
you know, like speaking of people who've grown, like she's grown so much over the course of the last 2 years, and I gotta shout her out every time she comes up because she did the theme song for this podcast. So like, you know, like she's the best,
Yeah.
like for real. But you know, like so like you put out 30 Bag and you put out Double Down, and then it's like, okay, that was tight. I did it. That's cool. It's
Mm.
time to do Mourning Due again. Like
Yeah.
what was that like second half or like that final sprint to get this together like for you?
Man, that was a challenge, honestly. I was like going, it was recorded in Crown Heights because I live in Crown Heights, but also Dane, the studio that I record in, he lives in Crown Heights. So I was just like walking back and forth between our cribs, like daily, trying to record, also trying not to waste his time. So I would try to come in there with like my bars done, but like a lot of times that wouldn't happen, you know. So I'd like have to sit there with the beats in front of me, and also just like getting the features who I wanted, and just rappers who I love. And I had to really think about that, like who I felt would be great on this project. I think that took a lot of time itself, you know, um like trying to track down Cav, who I love, but like sometimes, you know, it's hard to track that man down, like honestly, and Mavi, and like all these people who are just killing, but also like are not the easiest people to find and get a hold of. I think Morning Dew came together exactly how it was supposed to be. And even though it did take me 4 years, like all of that time was worth it.
Yeah, you know, like it's like,
Mhm.
you know, like you were talking about pressure before, and there is a lot of pressure to constant, and you know, like not even just like as an artist like you, but like even like for me as somebody who's like who's like a writer who does who writes album reviews and puts out interviews a lot. Like there is a lot of pressure, not even just like artistically to prove that I can still do it, but like niggas got to eat. Like, you know, like
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
It
like
also comes from that. Yeah.
you know, it's like really, you know, it can be like uniquely terrifying to be in a position where you want to make like stuff that's quality art, but you know, feel like, oh, if I don't put something out like in a year or like 8 months or like 6 months after I drop my other shit, like will people it's the classic it's the classic Mitch from Paid in Full thing, you know, like if I you know like if I leave, are the fans still gonna love me, you know, like
Yeah.
it's
Straight up. Straight up.
really
That
tough.
feeling. Yeah. 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 And like definitely not trying to minimize that, like, I need to eat thing, because that has motivated a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I feel like I'm like good enough at this art where I'm like, I feel like I should be eating off of it. So I'm like, yo, let me try to go eat. You know what I'm saying? Like that has definitely pushed a lot of things forward for me.
Right. And like it's done that without the music feeling like, oh, you just put this out just to, like there's never been a time where I've heard a Nappy Nina project and be like, oh, she just dropped this just because like, oh, she needed like a quick $500 or some shit, like
Yeah.
like it feels, like I can feel like, especially re-listening to Morning Dew yesterday and today, like and like that's kind of why I'm almost like grateful that we're getting to do this again, because I really got to like sit with the album more and like really,
Mm,
like go back into it. And like one thing I love about this project, like aside from the fact that you really just demolished this shit, like from just like a pure like technical rapping perspective, like point standpoint, just like the raps are really like top tier, like for me.
thank you.
But you're
Thank you.
welcome. But like the thing I love so much about your writing is that you you give so much of yourself, but not in like the typical way that people might expect you to. Like you don't do it
Mm,
through like details about you. Like there's a lot of like illusion, and there's a lot of like, this is kind of going on, but we're kind of keeping you at a distance. But
mm-hmm.
like we can fill in the blanks on that, or at least I can fill in the blanks on that, because I can hear it in your voice and I can hear it in your tone, that like, like I can hear I can feel the anxiety that you feel on Cope. I can
Yeah.
feel your energy and your passion on Amen and Scuffle. I can hear
Mm,
like you trying to find hope in all the bullshit on the song with Cav, Weeping Waltz, like it
mm-hmm.
all, like there aren't all these details about you as a person, like you're not like an open book, but like you can tell the type of person you are.
Cool.
And like that's a nice contrast, and that's something that like it's like you kind of sit in this middle ground where like there's like people who give you nothing about them, and then there's people who give you like literally like like it's like you're reading their diary or like reading their Twitter or like on their Finsta, which is cool. Like
Mm-hmm.
I love that, but like
Yeah.
you're in the middle where you're just
Yeah.
like like I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna tell you as much as I want you to know, and then
Mm-hmm.
either figure out the rest or just like take these bars. Like there aren't very many people who kind of occupy that middle section like you
Mm.
do. And I was just wondering if that was something that you kind of focus on in your writing. Like, is that something that you would say is like intentional, or does that just kind of happen?
I don't think it's intentional. I think that it's like, yeah, I think I like share as much as I think that I can, like I don't think that I don't think it ever occurred to me to like share more details than I do about my life. I think that um in a lot of ways, like things are, I feel like I'm pretty transparent, like especially on Amen. I speak
Mm-hmm.
about my mom being sick, and like I feel like there's stuff that I wouldn't talk about normally, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't just bring up in conversation. And I feel like these moments of vulnerability sometimes get looked over, but I think that I share like as much as I probably would, even with like, I think I'm kind of a closed person in some ways. Like I'm protective about, myself, but I feel like I do try to give as much as I can to the music and just be honest with like where I'm at and speak on my anxieties, like you said, and like speak on my, yeah, songs like Amen and Scuffle. Like I was angry in those songs, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
and you can tell, like especially Amen, like I feel like I remember the first time I played that song for Masai, she was like, yo, that's tight, but like who you mad at? Like what's like what's going on? So
Right.
I think I think like making those tracks and like having them lead to other questions is something that I subconsciously do, but I'm happy that I do that. Like I'm glad that people come back to me and they're like, yo, like when you said this in that song, like what did you mean? Like I'm happy to answer those questions. And I don't think, I don't think I've ever had to leave all of it on the track. And I think there's a place for what I do, and I'm happy that, I'm glad I'm very proud of what I make, and I'm happy that I am able to share with folks the amount that I do share.
Right. And that's great. Like it's really like, it's not even like a boundary setting thing. It's just like, it's
Yeah.
just like, this is what I feel like telling you. And if you want to know more, like, holla at me.
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
it's like, and like the handful of times we've interacted in person, like you've always been like icy cool to me.
Yeah.
Like, just like it, yeah, like just like in the sense of like, not necessarily unbothered, but you're just very like chill,
Yeah.
and like and like I relate to that because I also feel like I'm a very like chill person most of the
Yeah.
time, but like
Yeah.
but like it's always people like us that like when you hear that anger come out, people are like, the fuck, like
Yeah.
who did that to you, like,
Yeah.
it's I know that struggle real well, you know.
Yeah, I'm from Oakland. Like, we're a chill breed. Like the West Coast in general, I feel like I don't know many people from Oakland who are above like a 5, like personality
Right.
wise. Like we're always just kind of right here, you know. So, I think I'm just a product of my environment for real when it comes to that.
No, I could totally see that. And like it's it's really interesting you say that, just because of the way, like, like a lot of these beats are um a lot of these beats are kind of like combinations of like more electronic sounds with like some boom bap in there, some like more of like the new age, like I don't even know what to call the shit anymore, because like everyone has like five different, like everyone has their own way of defining it. It's just like whatever this is that y'all make,
Yeah.
like it's in there, and it's this really nice mix, like it makes a song like Weeping Waltz kind of stick out to me because of
Mm,
how like chill it is, and just like how you kind of, like no matter what's going on around you, you're just kind of like in the middle taking it there. And I guess just because it's on my mind, like what was your favorite beat to rap on this album, if you had to pick like one or two, like ones that really just hit the spirit?
Weeping Waltz was definitely one of those. Like I listened to that beat probably the most in the project. Just because I was like, dang, like how, like I couldn't find the pocket for a long time. When Cav rapped over it, I I was like, he sent me the verse before I had my verse, and I was like,
Mm.
what? Like I couldn't even hear what he was hearing, you know, like the way he rapped, I couldn't initially hear like how um he found that pocket. And I think, yeah, Weeping Waltz is definitely one of my favorite beats on the project. I mean, I love all the production, but I think also Scuffle and also Prayer Posture, like Nelson's like deep, funky ass, like, you know what I'm saying, like heavy bass. Like I love those beats. And I think like as soon as you turn those beats on, you're just like, ugh, like what? Like I love that feeling. And I think that some of those are my favorite beats. And I love Loogie. Me and Dane have just such a rapport that like the production that he does on these projects are, he knows what I'm gonna like, I think, and I also know like what he's gonna make a lot of times. So I think just having that relationship just makes me really love like rapping over that stuff too.
Yeah, nah, like a Scuffle's my other favorite beat on this album. I love like the like I don't know what Bandela did, but like it sounds like he's like crumbling up a piece of paper while like
Yeah,
the drums are doing their thing. Like it's just like so twitchy, like
yeah,
I love how like twitchy and like not even nervous, but it's just like it feels like it just feels like there's like a bug crawling all over your shoulders or some shit, and it's just
mm,
like I don't know. I like it. It's like really unsettling in like a good way, you know?
yeah, yeah. And I think you can say that about a lot of Nelson's production. You know, it's really unsettling, like in a good
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's like really venturous that way. And like,
Hmm.
like this like this whole project kind of has that it just goes to a lot of different places that I really appreciate. and it never and like it never what am I trying to say right now? It never goes away from like, this is Nina, like this really does feel like a, hey, I'm here, like this is the one type shit, like to me, like I know you've been doing this for a while now, but like this feels like a statement piece for you. Like this is like the like it almost feels like the essential Nappy Nina,
Mm,
like this is
mm.
this is like the Rosetta Stone for you almost.
Yeah.
um I don't know, do you feel that way?
I feel
Am I
like
doing too
no,
much?
I don't think you're doing too much. I think like if this is an entry point to me for people, I think this is the best entry point, you know what I'm saying, that they can get. And like if nobody has ever heard me before and they listen to Mourning Due, like they can understand kind of my whole trajectory and like what I've been doing. Like I feel like this is kind of a culmination of that. And I've kind of just this project has the most confidence that I've had before. So yeah, I kind of agree with it that it's I don't want to say it's like my best project, but it's definitely my most it stands out for sure.
And yeah, speaking of confidence, like there's nothing more confident than making the cover of your album for something like this. You napping in the desert with a pillow right underneath. Like it's just such a beautiful image. Like it's like it's so simple, and it's something that, like, it's so simple, but it's so effective, and it gets everything I need to know about the album is on this cover. Like even just
Mm,
the like one detail that stuck out to me when I revisited was like the fact that the sun is like on the horizon on the dunes in the
mhm.
back of you, and then like the rest is like the rest is like twilight. It's like
Yeah.
just like those like little contrasts, like every like it feels like such a like it's like so slyly funny and just like so very like simple. It's like, this is it. So like it's like, where did the idea for that come from? Like, how did that come together? How did you not get sand in your fucking hair? Because like I still have sand in my hair from like 15 years ago when I went to the beach type shit. So like it's
Yeah.
crazy to me. Like
Well, if you would ask my girl, she would say that I definitely brought home, still got some sand rolling around like in the crib. But otherwise, the idea came, I was in the Sahara Desert. Like let's not look over that. I was in an
right.
exchange program called One Beat. Shout out to One Beat. And we were there just like exchanging music with American artists, exchanging music with North African artists. And I was there for a month. But the photographer, who's my good friend, Alexia Webster, who's a beast, just like she's she's just a beast. She just takes amazing photos. Um, I just hit her up like, yo, like I have this idea. And initially it was the idea that I had was for a single cover for Tucked In, because Tucked In hadn't come out yet.
Right.
Um, so I was like, yo, I think I want to be buried. Like I've played with this theme before, like on Dumbed Out. I was napping. It was like an animated version of me as an acorn who was napping on a sleeping bag. So like this isn't the first time that I've done this concept, but I was like, yo, I think, is it possible for like me to get buried? And my homie was like, yeah, like let's do it. And two of the homies came out and like dug a hole for me, and I got in it. And it was cold. It was actually really cold, the sand that day. And it was super windy, and there was so much sand in my ears. And there's not so much in my hair, because what you don't see on the cover is like I was wearing a scarf before the photo was taken. So I took it
Okay,
off
that'll do
like,
it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I took it off like right before the photo, but there was so much sand in my ears. It was ridiculous. Like, um, but I didn't know that the cover was going to turn out as beautiful as it did. And I think that's just a testament to like Alexia's just talent and like professionalism and like how long she's been doing this, but also just like her willingness to like be down with my concept and like just be like, yo, let's make this work. So when I got the photo back, I realized that I couldn't just use it for Tucked In. And I was like, this like represents a lot more than that. And um not to minimize Tucked In, but like I just knew that I needed to use it as an album cover because it was just too good. So yeah.
Right. Like that's like, like if you made posters, like that's a poster I would put on my wall. Like it's
I
like
am
it
making
not even
posters. Like,
see, all right,
come out to
then
the
say
release
less.
show. I got posters. Yeah.
Yes, say less. I got you. But nah, like what time of day was it? Like when y'all shot it, because you were saying that the sand was cold, and it's just like it feels like a 4 to 5 o'clock p.m.
Yeah,
shot to me. Like,
exactly. It was probably like 5 p.m. I think because we were supposed to be at a dinner with like some some big wigs of our program, and we were like,
mhm.
nah, but we got to get this shot. So I know it was like around like 5 or 6. Um, yeah, 5 or 6 p.m. Probably where it was like the sun was gonna start setting soon. And what you also don't see is like there's a whole bunch of people. If you like look on the other side of that photo, like if you were looking at me from like behind, there's a whole bunch of people on the other side of that photo, like just chilling in the beach and just I mean not the beach, in the desert. And like there's people riding like four-wheelers around and like riding trucks up the dunes. Like it was actually a hectic scene and it looks like it was so peaceful, but like there was actually a lot going on around it. So
That's hilarious. How long it took
yeah,
to take the how long it took to take the photo?
maybe like an hour, like getting buried and all that. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's just like such a, like you don't always think about the process it takes to like, like it's not even like y'all made it on a computer. Like you like did that
Yeah.
in person, and that's
Yeah.
like the whole process behind that is like, from conception to execution is, like I love that journey, and I just love it. It's just such a cool image, like it's just like it's funny and a little melancholy and just like yeah, I'm just like taking a nap in the sand. I don't know, like just
Yeah.
it just
Yeah.
kind of stuck with me. And it really and you're like it really encapsulates like the feeling of the album like to such a beautiful degree. Like it's not always
Mhm.
the case anymore. I feel like there's been a lot of really nice covers, but it's always nice to see like a cover that like matches like music so succinctly. It's like almost like they're inseparable, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but Nina, to wrap this up, um, if your life was a movie, what would it be about?
Hmm. So many movies I want to make about my life. I think if my life was a movie, I hope that it would be a sports drama. And maybe in the rap sense, I think my movie would be like a coming of age tale, like one of those that are just like you really just want to see me win, and like who knows, but it cuts off before you actually get to see me win for real, for real. I think that would be the movie.
What sport would it be?
Mm, probably basketball or skateboarding. I love skateboarding. I don't skate because I'm old, but I love that sport and I love watching it.
Yeah, me too. It was how did you feel about skateboarding being included as an Olympic sport? I think that was like a year ago or 2 years ago. Like that's kind of
Yeah,
wild to me.
it is really wild. I think it's super polarizing, like I mean, it's like kind of it's similar to think about hip hop, because it's like what if hip hop became like I don't know, like an Olympic sport, but it kind of is at this point, and it's kind of it feels good and bad at the same time that like hip hop is so accessible to so many people. And I think that's what
Yeah.
skateboarders probably feel too, where it's like anybody can do that shit now, which is like good and bad, like
Oh man, that's such a good point. Like I be thinking about that shit all the time. Just like,
yeah,
like like it's beautiful that there's so many people here, but like quality
yeah.
control kind of not even so much quality control, but just like context starts to get watered down and
Hmm.
misunderstood, and the people who should be talking about shit aren't, and other people who it's a whole other conversation. But nah,
Yeah.
I agree 100% because like skateboarding was a counterculture thing, and now it's
Hmm.
really not. It like is but
Super
isn't.
mainstream.
And
Yeah.
like and like hip hop's the same, like it is but it isn't. It's in this weird like middle point that it's kind of hard. It's a kind of nebulous and hard to describe, but you know, we make the best of it. And
yeah,
know,
we do.
Like, but Nina, yo, thank you. Like, thank you so much for the music and just like making good shit. Like, I've been a fan for a while, but you know, like, thank you for doing this twice and
Yeah.
doing it 16 hours ahead. And you know, it really, I don't know, like it just means a lot to me. Like, not even just because you did it twice, even though like that's incredible. I just really fuck with the album and I fuck with the movement and just yeah, thank you for taking the time. It really means
Hell
the
yeah.
world.
Thank you for having me. For real. It really, I'm really happy to be able to talk about the record in this way.
Nah, man. Anytime. Thanks for listening. Shout out to y'all for making it this far. And shout out to all the Black people listening too, because y'all really impeccable. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell a friend to come through next time. 1.